Hey, what's up everybody? You got Matt here from Nerdthusiast. Today we're going to be going over the Xbox Game Showcase that just happened earlier this morning on July 23rd. I'm just going to do a quick rundown of what happened, give you guys my opinions on some of those things. More importantly, at the end, we're going to discuss how this impacts PlayStation and Nintendo Switch as well. Just my thoughts on what they should have been paying attention to during this conference. Now, this video is going to be off the cuff. I am reading from a computer, but it's really just basic notes. I'm going to give you guys my own thoughts and opinions. It's just reminding me of what was in the showcase. That's all I'm using the computer for at this point, because I don't remember everything. That's not happening. So let's hop into the showcase. They started out with Halo Infinite. The game looks beautiful. It looks like a newer version of Halo Combat Evolved. It has, if you just look at the aesthetics, the environment and stuff, it feels like Halo Combat Evolved. Like it feels like starting out that game, which is great for me. I mean, this is the first time I've been excited about a Halo game probably since like Halo 3. Like I did play a little bit of. I think I played Reach. I played Halo 5. I don't think I played Halo 4 though. And they were fine, the story wasn't really good in 5. I didn't even bother with 4. 3 was the last one I really remember playing. So this is the most excited I've been since then. It's really because it just, I think I'm ready for a new Halo game, especially because 5 was kind of disappointing. After that, we had State of Decay 3. I don't care about State of Decay. It looked like more State of Decay, so if you like State of Decay, you're going to get more of it. After that, Phil Spencer just came on. He announced that they were going to show 9 first-party games from their own studios, 5 of which were going to be shown for the first time. After that, he mentioned that Game Pass members will be able to play all these games as they release on the first day, which was, they kept mentioning Game Pass over and over throughout the conference. That was really what they wanted to hammer home, is the value you get out of Game Pass. After that, they showed off Forza Motorsport. There was no numbers or different subtitles to it. We'll see if that changes in the future. Looks like Forza. Looks really good. More Forza. Everwild was after that. Everwild looks really cool. So this is a new game from Rare. I love Rare's games. I'm a big fan of Banjo-Kazooie. Conker's Bad Fur Day is freaking awesome. They did some of the Donkey Kong games for Nintendo back in the day. Love Perfect Dark. Very sad we didn't get to see anything from Perfect Dark. I was hoping, maybe one of their studios is working on it. It's possible that they still are, but they didn't show anything for Perfect Dark at that event. The art in this game, Everwild, looks like it's from like a painting. The art looks really good. They said our world has rhythm. We all sense it, but only a few of us truly feel it. That really hit home for me. They showed you different people caring for animals and really taking care of animals in the world, which is something that I care deeply about. I'm definitely going to play this game. I'm going to buy it on day one, check it out. I definitely recommend you guys going out and watching the trailer for that one. At least look up Everwild and check out the trailer. That was one of my favorite games through the show. Then after that, we had a new game from Dontnod called Tell Me Why. Looks like Life is Strange. It feels like Life is Strange. I guess that's good. I feel like a lot of companies are making games like that now, so I'm kind of getting a little bit over it. Don't know if I'm going to play that one or not. After that, they announced Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a game that already exists on Xbox One, but they're going to be enhancing it for Xbox Series X. It's going to have enhanced audio, which was kind of surprising to me. I didn't even think about that, but they're going to be enhancing the audio, as well as some other features throughout the game. And if you already have the game, apparently that's going to be part of Smart Delivery, so it'll upgrade for you at no additional charge. After that, they showed off a new expansion for Outer Worlds, which was very popular. It's called Peril on Gorgon, I think. It's an expansion to Outer Worlds, so more of that if you guys are into it. Grounded was shown off, which is, I think this wasn't the first time they showed this off. I think this was already shown off before, but it looks like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's like small people, giant bugs. They showed some building parts to it, so it kind of looked like part of it was like Fortnite, sort of. They didn't come out right and say it, but it looks like there's going to be single and multiplayer like options to use in the game. So you can check out that. It looks interesting, something different. The next thing is probably one of the biggest things that came out of the conference, which was Avowed. Avowed is it's a RPG in first-person view from Obsidian. Those are all good things, and it looks like it's going to take place in a medieval setting. They show you arrows being thrown at skeletons, or fired at skeletons rather. That game looks really cool, but they only showed a very small, clip of it. There wasn't really gameplay. There's a lot of CG, which most of this conference was CG trailers. There's, Halo was the biggest thing they went into that actually showed gameplay. After Avowed, they showed As Dusk Falls. This was another interactive sort of drama game, getting the same kind of feels like Don't Nod's games. It takes place in it spans 30 years in the American Southwest. That's what I wrote down. It's about people trying to find their way in a world they do not fit in. Again, I'm starting to feel exhausted from those interactive story-based games. So if that's something you're interested in, go check it out. They showed Hellblade again, just talked about it briefly. One of the best parts of the conference happened next. Jack Black was working with Double Fine again. He's going to be, I guess, a character in Psychonauts 2, and he sang this song throughout like the trailer that they showed, which was great. I love Jack Black. So happy that he's in Psychonauts 2. They said Destiny 2 is coming to Xbox Series X, which was, obvious if they didn't already state that before. Then there was a game, Stalker 2, which I didn't write any notes down, so I don't remember what that was about. Warhammer Dark Tide. It seems like it's some sort of expansion of Warhammer. There were zombies and stuff in it. The next thing that was pretty cool was Tetris Effect Connected. Tetris Effect was a game that was already been out on PS4. I think it's out on like Steam, and like you can get it on the PC somehow. This will be the first time it's coming to Xbox. The connected feature is like for multiplayer, because the first one was just like single player. It had like a campaign and everything. The connected one is going to feature multiplayer modes. If you have it on PlayStation, if you have it on PC, you will get those upgrades for free. They did announce that after the conference was over. Then there was an interesting game called Gunk, which was basically this person lands their spaceship on a planet. The planet is consumed by it looks like pollution. There's some sort of evil on there, and you use almost like a vacuum gun to suck up the pollution. That looks pretty interesting. I might check that one out. The next one that we showed off was The Medium. They already kind of showed this off before. I think they just gave you a longer trailer essentially. I ain't got too much to say about that. It looks interesting. It's fine. After that, PSO 20th anniversary got announced. They're adding some features into that, so something new from Sega is always cool. Crossfire X is something from Remedy, but I was so confused as to what this was. I thought this was one of the worst trailers because it doesn't explain anything. It was, again, a CG-based trailer, but my questions are, is this a multiplayer game? Is it a single-player game? Is it both? And I kind of had that feeling throughout the conference a couple different times because they're just showing these CG trailers, so you don't really know what you're getting out of the game. There was a few times where I had that happen, but most notably Crossfire X, I was just completely confused by it. And I think they announced that game previously, so maybe I just need to go and research it more. But they did a bad job of showing you or telling you what kind of game that even is. Then they had the end of the conference. Essentially, they had the one more big thing moment. This was the worst kept secret in the industry. This was the new Fable game. Made by Playground Games, which makes sense. They're from England, so that's gonna fit the whole context in the Fable universe. The tone seems right. They made a cheeky little joke in there. So some light comedy was already in the trailer, but they didn't show a lot. They didn't show any gameplay at all. It was very just a very basic CG trailer, which makes me think the game is pretty far off, which is kind of surprising. I thought this would come out maybe by 2021, but with the little amount that they've shown, I don't think it's coming out in 2021. It seems like it's much further off, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. So what were my thoughts on the conference? It was fine. They showed off some important stuff. Showing off Halo was good. I wish they would have showed off some multiplayer for it. I think that's what everybody is really into with Halo. Granted, there are quite a few campaign players as well, but why not show both, you know? Fable was necessary to get out. I mean, that's been leaked forever, and it also does get a fan base excited. They haven't announced anything from Fable in quite a while. There hasn't been a new Fable game in years, so that's definitely interesting. So, I mean, the point of this was to show off the games, but the underlying statement was really about Game Pass. And, like, I think Game Pass is a great value, but the people who were paying attention, the people who were watching this, they already knew that. They still know that. It's not a surprise or anything new to anybody that was watching that conference or the game showcase. If we're looking at it from an aspect where, you know, did they steal like PlayStation's thunder? Probably not. I think very few people are gonna be convinced to go to, you know, Xbox because of that. You know, Microsoft might get more people to get Game Pass through PC though, which is ultimately going to bring them in money. So I don't even know if they really care. But I thought it was fine. It was a fine conference. It wasn't terrible. It also wasn't great. And I feel like they really needed to have a great conference. They really needed to blow it out of the water if they wanted to compete with Sony on the same level. Unfortunately, in my opinion, that didn't happen today. Hopefully, it'll change in the future because competition is really what's going to push everybody forward. You know, a healthy Xbox is only better for PlayStation. It's only better for Switch. And you know, any way you want to put it, you know, a healthy Switch or Nintendo is only better for PlayStation. It's only better for Xbox. Competition's going to, you know, keep pushing people forward. All right, so let's dig into the question that's proposed in the video. Why should you care if you're a Switch player or a PlayStation player? If you're a Switch player, you should care about the conference because pretty much what I said during the same sort of video I did about the PlayStation, the hardware is going to be pushed forward. The Switch is going to be left behind in the dust. It was already, you know, look comparatively, it was already like a generation behind. Now it's going to be comparatively, hardware-wise, 2 generations behind. I feel that I feel that developers are going to have a more difficult time developing for the Switch. I feel like you're going to start seeing less games probably on the Switch. There'll be some games, of course, there'll be indie games and stuff like that. But I think you're not going to see as many, like, you know, AAA games be on there. It's going to get harder and harder because these companies are going to have to, like, go out of their way to really make a game specifically for the Switch. They're already kind of doing that. Now it's going to be even more so. Pretty much what Xbox beat you over the head with in the conference was Game Pass, because that's like their knight in shining armor. That's the one thing that, you know, you can say over and over again, Xbox has it over PlayStation, and it's true. It's true. So what about PlayStation? They have PlayStation Now, right? Okay, so it's very similar to Game Pass. The biggest difference is PlayStation's not putting out their first-party games on PlayStation Now the day that they're released. I'm sure they do in the future at some point. Xbox is doing that. That's the biggest discrepancy between PlayStation Now and Game Pass. Both of them have the option to stream. Both of them have the option to download, with the exception of, I think, PS3 games on PlayStation Now. Sony does not have to put their games out as a day one release on PlayStation. Now, they don't have to because their games are just that good. I love Xbox, I love PlayStation, I love Nintendo. It doesn't matter to me which system I'm playing games on, but Sony studios have a bar that is set extremely high, in my opinion. I think they have some of the best studios in the world, if not the best studios in the world, making their games. So I mean, their games are that good where if I was Sony, I wouldn't put them out on day one either. They don't need to. You know, they're already beating Xbox. Okay, a new generation, in my opinion, isn't going to change anything. PlayStation's still going to be the front runner. Microsoft's still going to do well. They're still going to make a ton of money. They're not going to beat PlayStation. And then Nintendo's going to keep doing their own thing like they have been for, you know, the past decade or two. So you're not going to see anything change from, you know, Nintendo. Nintendo's not going to care about this whatsoever, really. But they should be concerned from a hardware aspect. They're probably, you know, if I was Nintendo, I would be really gearing up and getting ready for either a new console or a revamped version of the Switch. And PlayStation really doesn't have anything to worry about in the short term. You know, I can't imagine them, you know, Xbox showed off Halo, they showed off Fable, which was great. You know, they had a few other cool titles in there. but you're not competing to the same level of Sony studios. It's not happening. Can it happen in the future? Sure, but that's still years off. I know they bought a lot of studios in the past few years, but games take, 5 years, sometimes even more. Think about God of War, right? They had to redo God of War, I think they canceled that game once or twice and basically scrapped it and started all over. And it took them a decade to make God of War. Because of, if you count all the scraps they had to do. It's not going to happen that fast. It's going to take a lot of time. And PlayStation doesn't have to put out their games day one. People are going to buy them no matter what. And people are going to still subscribe to PlayStation Now. So PlayStation doesn't have a ton to worry about. But if they really want to stick it to Microsoft, and they put out their games day one on PlayStation Now, then Microsoft doesn't have any real advantage other than that their hardware seems like it's going to be a bit more powerful. So Sony can just really focus on PlayStation Now, improving that. I think that Microsoft is playing a long game, and I think that may be a big difference in the future. The Game Pass is the future for them. Eventually, there won't be machines. At some point, there'll just be apps, and they're working their asses off right now to make sure you know what Game Pass is. So when that time comes, they can put Game Pass on as many places as possible. And if Sony was smart, they'd be doing the same thing with PlayStation Now, because in the future, there will not be hardware. Everything will eventually be streamed at some point. And if they can make PlayStation Now as big as a brand as Xbox Game Pass is already, PlayStation's going to be able to continue to compete. And that's what they'll need to do for the future. But for the next few years, Xbox not beating PlayStation. It's not happening. I'm still going to buy an Xbox. I'm still going to play on Xbox. Still going to buy PlayStation. Still going to play on PlayStation. Doesn't matter to me. I'll always get Nintendo systems too. All right, guys. So that was really all my thoughts and opinions on it. Hopefully this didn't go too long. Leave me some feedback. I really did this off the cuff. I had some notes just because I had to remember what was in the conference, and there's no way in hell I was going to remember all that. But please leave me some feedback if you like this style of video. Like, subscribe, share, all those fun things. If you could follow us online, you can follow us at Nerdthusiast on Twitter. You can follow my personal account. It's at FromNJ to CA. And subscribe to us over on Patreon. It really helps out the channel. Anything you guys donate over there on Patreon, it goes right back into the channel so we can upgrade our equipment, get things like new lighting, better computers, and stuff like that. All right, guys. You take care.